All right, stats. So we're beginning chapter 2, and you'll notice that in chapter 2, we're focused on two variables at a time. So 2.1 is relationships between two, and we're going to focus on categorical variables. Remember, categories put our individuals or our units, whatever you want to call them, into categories. Okay, so a lot of times it's more verbal rather than numerical. Okay. All right, so when you have two variables, they each have a name. So one of the variables is called the response variable. And the response variable measures an outcome of a study. It is the dependent variable. It is going to be the y later on in this chapter. And again, when I think of response, I think of the word respond. So it's how does something respond to something, right? The outcome, right? So this idea of respond. Okay, respond. Those are quotation marks. So the other variable is called the explanatory variable. It may predict or explain changes in the response variable. It is the independent variable. It is going to be the x in our problems. And again, in explanatory, there is this word explain, right? So it comes first, the response comes second. First x, then y, right? Now, sometimes there isn't a clear explanatory or response variable. It isn't clear. So for instance, eye color and hair color. So be aware that sometimes you just can't tell, and that's okay. But most of the time you can. All right, so example 1, tax reform and heart disease. It says identify the explanatory variables for the following relationships. Explain your reasoning. So opinion about tax reform and political party membership. Now, I don't know how political you guys are, but typically, if you are a Republican, you are not in favor of taxes. And if you're a Democrat, you're kind of okay with taxes because you support more social programs. So political party membership might predict your opinion on tax reform. Okay, so our answer is going to look like this: political party membership. So that's me picking. So that is my explanatory variable because it may help predict. I like this word predict. It may help predict a person's opinion about tax reform. Opinion about tax reform. Okay. All right, second one here. Anger level, low, moderate, or high, and whether or not a person has coronary heart disease. Well, there is sort of an association between, anger, stress, and what stress does to your body. So I think that if you tend to be more of an angry person, that means you're putting a lot of extra stress on your body. That means your heart's doing extra work. So you might be more susceptible to coronary heart disease. So the moral of the story is just chill out, dude, right? Life's too short. But yes, I think that anger level is the explanatory. So anger level, because it may predict whether or not a person develops coronary heart disease. Coronary. And I capitalize coronary heart disease just to emphasize that that is the other variable. Again, coronary heart disease. Okay. So again, hopefully you're listening and not just looking, because I don't know if I could read that if I was just looking at this. All right, so there we go. So that's objective 1, determining which one's the explanatory variable and which one's the response variable.